Hello, today the embargo is over, so we get to talk about and review Wonder Woman. I am here with Jenna Bush of Legion of Leia and ComingSoon.net.
Hello.
Your review has been out for a while now, but we're going to talk about it in depth here. There will be spoilers, though not ruining
Right. Mild
story.
Spoilers.
Mild spoilers in this. So I did get to see it and I did get to react, but I wasn't allowed to review until now. I liked it. And by that I mean I loved it. I lost my mind when I saw it, but I've been able to think about it critically since then.
Right.
I was so happy to see a DC movie that is joyful and actually funny.
The sun was out sometimes too.
I really liked how they characterized Themyscira versus London.
Yeah.
You know, the Paradise Island versus man's world, as it were. And I laughed during this movie. I barely cracked a smile at Suicide Squad, and it was to laugh at Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
At them, not with them.
Yes, definitely at them.
Yeah, this is by far, head and shoulders, the best DC movie.
Without a doubt.
Yes.
Without a doubt. And the humor was something that I wasn't expecting either. It was really funny, especially the whole beginning interaction between Steve Trevor and Diana. It's hysterical. It's absolutely hysterical. There's one thing, you'll know what it is when you see it, that they have a discussion on a boat. It's pretty fantastic.
I think it's great. You know, I really think Steve Trevor is my favorite superhero love interest.
Yeah.
I really grew to like him and appreciate him and understand his humanity, because typically we see a two-dimensional kind of like, I'm a scientist and I don't believe in that, but now I do. And he felt like a real person with real moral conflicts and real depth to his personality. Like he could be someone who actually existed.
Yeah, and he wasn't all perfect. I mean, you know, I don't think this is a spoiler that like he's a spy. Like that's not a spoiler at all for anything. But I was not 100% sure how I felt about Chris Pine in the role until I saw it, and now I think their chemistry is amazing. He does the best German accent I've ever heard, with all of my authority on German accents, I guess. But it sounded really convincing. I believed him. And one of the things that I thought was really cool, and I know this is a really subtle thing, and I bet girls will pick this up, is there are certain shots of Wonder Woman when she's, and this has been in the trailer, so when she's climbing out of the pit, going into battle, where you see the shot up her legs, so you can see her boots, and you see the back of her costume, and you see the front of her costume. If someone else shot this movie, that would have been done in like super sexy way. Like, look at her legs, look at her ass. This way she looks strong.
She did.
Look at this woman climbing this thing to go into battle and draw fire. Like it's not the same thing.
I did love the depiction of femininity in this, which was, it's hard to, because you don't want to make it like overly sexy, right? You don't want to de-sex it entirely.
Right, exactly.
I mean,
she's beautiful. That's just,
you don't like just take that part away from a person. That's part of being a human.
Right.
And she had to strike this balance between being incredibly strong but not losing her femininity.
Right.
And I think it's one of the best depictions I've ever seen.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, when she was shot, there are certain shots where she is supposed to look beautiful and there's supposed to be a spark with people and all of that. And then when she's in battle, that's not the time where you're like, oh, it's sexy time. Look at her do this. Then she looks strong, and it works out. It's a really perfect balance. There's one thing I want to talk about that's a spoiler, but I don't want to spoil anything. But they handle the relationship very well. I
liked that relationship a lot.
It was well done.
I believed in it. I wanted things to happen. I enjoyed a lot of all the scenes along the way for them. And I mean, that's also because this is new territory. This is the first female-led superhero movie.
Yep.
So it's just, you have to hit the balance where you get the character right, you make it enough of a spectacle for people to want to watch it and be enthralled, even if they haven't really been involved with the character of Wonder Woman. And it really nails it, I think. I think a lot of times you lose something so core and essential to characters in these movies, but I think they got hers. they kept hers, and she has this level of, she's not, a female Superman.
Right.
She's not just a killing machine. There's a lot to her.
Yeah.
She has a lot of love and wisdom in her. And sometimes those elements come off as so corny when you play them in television and movies, but it came off, and I think it hit just the right note.
Yeah, and it was really interesting because you got to remember, like, she's coming from an island that has not been at war since she's been alive. So she's the only child on the island. She's been created, and I mean, this is an origin story that everyone knows about, being created out of clay, and it does sort of follow more the New 52 thing, but she's never experienced war in the same way that all of the Amazons have. So when she goes out into the world and actually sees war, there's an innocence about her where she's like, why can't we help everyone? What do you mean that we have to leave this person to save all these people? And it was really refreshing. It was a really interesting, I mean, in a way it has, if you're gonna compare it to a Marvel movie, it has sort of an early Captain America kind of a feel, but still even more so that she's come from this island where, strength is, and female strength is really prized. I mean, because that's really the only kind on the island.
That's the only kind there is on the island.
Other than the armadillo that runs by.
Population.
Because there's an armadillo. I'm scared, that's fine. But like it's really interesting that she just assumes that all women fight. Like, you've seen it in the trailer, like what women wear when they fight.
I liked her idealism, and I liked how she was very ideal, and there was this level of naivety, but later that naivety kind of washed off.
Yeah.
And it did show, oh, you can have some level of idealism or striving for something better or hopefulness inside of you, despite your outsides all pressing around you, saying completely the opposite.
Totally. And it's interesting because I'd seen this a number of weeks ago, and then I went to the premiere, and the premiere was very shortly after everything that happened in Manchester, and so it was even more affecting to look at someone's idealism in the face of horror. And I think in a way it worked very well putting it in World War I as opposed to World War II, because it's a dirty war. I mean, just from talking to friends of mine who served, like, obviously that element exists in all war, but in World War II you see it, and there isn't like, oh, look at that cool technology and explosions, and it's hand to hand. It's really ugly, and I think her sense of idealism really contrasted that very well.
I loved this movie.
I love it too.
I love this movie.
So much.
I'm gonna go see it. I saw it a while back. I'm gonna go back to the theaters when it's out in the open. I'm
I'm paying my dollars.
Money to go see it many times. I'm going to go buy that Blu-ray. I loved this movie. I loved what it stood for. I think it was actually very timely without being overt or preachy.
Doesn't beat you over the head with it.
I wish I had this child when I was a kid, and I'm jealous of kids who do get to grow up and see this. And I'm not saying just little girls, I'm saying little boys too. This movie will appeal to men. It's not just for women.
No, not at all. Although I do have to say, as somebody who had the underoos, and I put Scotch tape around my wrist and colored it with magic marker, and then I put an upside down birthday crown on my head, and I used rope from my garage so I could be Wonder Woman as a kid. And the first time I saw her fight, I'm unabashedly bawling. I was like, this is happening. Oh my God,
I absolutely cried in this movie. In the beginning, I was just shaking because I was so excited it was happening. Also, it's very beautiful in the beginning.
Gorgeous.
But by the end, I was sobbing. Ugly sobbing. I was making noises. People thought I was laughing, and it was very inappropriate given the moment.
I was unattractive when I left that movie.
But I was, I did it, and like afterwards, people were like, do you want to take Instagram photos? And I went, damn it.
No.
Fine.
Oh no.
And then I did.
Everyone who came out of the premiere, everyone was doing this. Linda Carter was at the premiere party, and she was talking about how much she loved it. We saw Robin Wright there, who in this movie, Robin Wright, oh my God.
She's very good. She's very good.
She could break you in half, and she is wonderful. And she said as she left, like, this is so important for little girls. And little boys, by the way, so like you said.
I don't know if I'm gonna give it a number.
No, I don't need to give it a number. This one sort of defies numbers.
All the stars.
All of the
stars. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give it 1 million stars and a thumbs up. I liked it a lot. It's a definite recommendation for theaters for me.
Absolutely.
I think it does have a broad appeal. I think it's been undersold.
Yes.
And I heartily recommend it. It's the best movie I've seen this year.
Yep.
It's my favorite superhero movie.
Yes.
It's probably the best movie I've seen in the past few years. I'd have to think about that, but it's very, very good.
It really is.
Big recommendation. Wonder Woman is out on June 2nd.
June 2nd. Please go see it opening weekend. Show the studios that we want more of this.
Show Warner Brothers they were wrong to support Suicide Squad so much and Wonder Woman barely at all.